welcome back to the show that always seems to end but somehow keeps coming back. Today we review SpongeBob Season 11. Cue the title card. Hey ladies and jellyfish, wumbles of all sizes, welcome back to A.S.K's videos. Today I'm finally back here with every episode of SpongeBob Season 11 reviewed in 10 words or less. You know how this works by now. We go through the 50 episodes of Season 11, rating them great, good, meh, bad, or boo, and giving them a brief review in 10 words or less. At the end, we pick our top and bottom 5 and unveil the wildcard episode and other cool stuff. Nothing really to say except follow me on Twitter and join my Discord server. Let's jump into it. That Spider-Man meme finally has purpose. This episode really needs to clamber out of mediocrity. An awesome return of this beloved character. A Mr. Krabs' torture episode I actually enjoy. Plankton should have just traded Krabs' wish for the formula. Totally rad, dude. Just a friendly game but without Squidward. Working like Larry. A truly breathtaking episode in this beautiful stop motion. The humor in this episode is amazing. SpongeBob twerking is the highlight of this episode. Fungus Among Us, but actually good. How do Plankton's feet even reach the pedals? Not too garbage of an episode. Saves me a trip to the incinerator. Everything looks better in black and white. One brilliant episode later, I don't even know. What a boring nightmare. Get it? Papa Bob. You think an episode about clowns would be funny? Drive happy? More like drive meh. Back in my day, cute, clever, and creative. Algae is always greener plus Grandma's secret recipe somehow equals awesome. Pretty nifty. The Bubble Bass talk show better be a spin-off. A lot of wasted potential. The ending is kind of anticlimactic. My leg! When life gives you lemons, make a good episode. I really relish this episode. Oh wait, wrong condiment. One of Zoo Service's best episodes to date. We should cut this team up more often. Not the cleanest episode. For fast relief of indigestion, try Gush and Flush. Roses are red, violets are blue. This episode is hilarious. Let's take Patrick Smartpants and rehash it! Call the cops, this episode isn't too great. This episode is weirder than a pickle running through molasses. Squidward meeting Roger Bumpus is the best thing ever. Overbooked plus abrasive side plus bestie ever equals. This episode gets a 10, 10, 10, 10. The Bikini Bottom kids are the bane of my existence. Is this a sequel to Graveyard Shift or Rock Bottom? This episode really popped into my heart. Gal pals! Ravioli, ravioli, be more originally. Just a really fun short. Now that all that's finished, let's jump straight into the top and bottom 5. Number 5 best, Grandmom's the word. Is he just muted as Doug Lawrence only rate Plankton episodes so he can get 2 paychecks? Anyway, Grandmom's the word. I chose this episode of the other 9 greats because I just have a really good connection with it. This episode is Grandpappy the Pirate with Plankton, with comedy, mixed in with Algae's Always Greener and Grandma's Secret Recipe. And you know what? It does better than all those episodes with the exception to Algae's Always Greener. Just the premise of Plankton pretending to own the Krusty Krab is hilarious, let alone with his awesome grandma to back up the comedic aspect of this episode. The new Krusty Krab is nice. Handsome Scooter 2.0 and Grandma having a crush on him was literally the best thing ever. All the characters are sincere, especially Krabs, which I didn't expect, and Plankton doesn't turn out bad in the end like New Leaf. Just an awesome episode all the way through. Number 5 worst, high sea diving. You know, I thought this episode was going to be about teaching kids not to litter. And while I understand that SpongeBob doesn't need to teach morals and rarely does directly, it would have been nice to do so regardless. The plot could have just been SpongeBob being a champion, and while everyone is congratulating him, he's sad because he's never seen the surface and what humans have done. Not only is this episode not very good in the moral department, it's also really boring. Like really boring. You think an episode with Old Man Jenkins would be good, but alas, it's incredibly predictable. Not too bad, but still bad. Number 5 best, Squid Noir. Squid Noir is one of the most creative episodes of SpongeBob. The black and white aspects being used throughout almost the entire episode has never been done before, and it feels well needed, especially after seeing how talented Roger Bumpus is as Squidward. The jokes in this episode all hit home, and Bubble Bass is a nice addition here. He's usually not my favorite character, but I like him here. I just love Krabs' makeup, and the plot is also really well handled and well paced. Overall, great episode, but I have to have the unpopular opinion here and rank it as number 4. Number 4 worst, library cards. This is an episode that a casual watcher of the show will look at and not think about too much. But looking at it from a critical standpoint, you come to realize that this episode rehashes a lot of old episodes. First of all, this is a clear copy of Patrick Smartpants, down to Bill Fagerbakk's voice acting and everything. It also has Pet Sitter Pat vibes, and doesn't add anything new to the table. Very boring, and this just goes to show what could have happened if Patrick Smartpants went wrong. Number 3 best, my leg! If you could label an episode as a true gift to SpongeBob fans, new and old, this episode would be a bright shining sign. After 20 years of Fred being used, they finally dedicated an episode to him, and let me just say that it is amazing. The humor is literally hilarious, the running gags with the ambulance are great, the slapstick comedy is really nice, especially with the modern animation, and the song at the end is literally hilarious. Doug Lawrence does great voicing Fred as always, and all the characters are great here. 10 out of 10. Number 3 worst, Man Ray returns. You know, Man Ray was always one of my favorite characters in SpongeBob. From his brilliant usage in Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 3, to just his voice and design, he's always been a personal favorite. But after he was completely wasted in super evil aquatic villain team up as Go, and in this episode right here, I feel like he didn't get the right treatment over the course of the show. In this episode, I get to see him without his mask, just on vacation. Think of the hilarious comedy that could ensue from this concept. Rather than being a funny return to this character, it was terrible. The plot is very all over the place and boring, and the ending was extremely forced. I guess Squidward talking to Man Ray was cool, but what's the point if the episode is bad? Number 2 best, Scavenger Pants. This is easily one of the most fragile plots in existence. As soon as I read the synopsis on the wiki for this one, I was like, oh great, another Squidward torture episode. But this episode is one of the most well-handled and funniest episodes of season 11. The plot is hands down perfect, and it shows what good neighbors could have been at the best case scenario. The ending is hilarious, along with every other joke here, and it's just a blast watching this episode. If any episode was a bright shining sign that season 11 was getting old bad things right, this episode would be it. Number 2 worst, Squirrel Jelly. This episode is cliche and just wrong. Every Sandy episode doesn't have to be about her liking sports, being good at karate, being a scientist, or loving acorns. She has other parts to her character. I think the only episode that fleshed out Sandy in that way this season was Girls' Night Out, and that episode doesn't do too well in that aspect either. Anyway, other than that, the karma in this episode is really off. Like, if Squidward were to do what Sandy did here, he would get mutilated in half, but I guess Sandy's on a magical pedestal there. Just like my problem with Krabby Chronicle, I would give this episode a fairly high meh if Sandy got her fair share of karma, which she doesn't fully get here. Other than that, this episode is unoriginal and predictable, and nothing here feels fresh. And the golden app goes to The Legend of Bikini Bottom. Speaking of fresh, The Legend of Bikini Bottom, an episode I've reviewed in the past, is a spectacle in every way imaginable. Let's start with the most obvious thing, the stop motion animation. Oh my god, as if the Christmas special didn't wow us to all frick before, now we have this beauty to look at for 20 minutes. All the puppets look amazing, from SpongeBob's foamy sponge body to Squidward's smooth clay head. It all looks impeccable. If you haven't seen the behind the scenes video for Bikini, I would recommend that to show how much effort went into making the special. The characters of SpongeBob and the Flying Dutchman having a clash about scary equaling funny is really awesome, and it shows how much effort they put in here. And the rotten app goes to Ink Lemonade. The worst post-season 10 episode, in my opinion, is Ink Lemonade. Seriously though, this review writes itself. The gross out and Squidward torture here is really unnecessary and disgusting, and this is one of the few episodes here that I actually feel bad for Squidward. Every time he squirts out his ink, I just wince because it is shot so disgustingly, and SpongeBob and Patrick are really flanderized here to want Squidward's ink over and over with so many mean-spirited tactics. And even things like Patrick ripping a band-aid off his armpit just screams screw you to the audience. I've reviewed this in full with Cargo before, so check that out for my full thoughts, but in general, I wouldn't watch this episode ever again unless I feel like I really hate myself at any particular time. Until then though, this episode sucks. That's it for the top and bottom 5. Back to you, me. Thanks, me. So there you go. Before we get into the stats, here are all the rotten and golden apps before this season. In this season's wildcard episode, the episode that wasn't in the top or bottom 5 and stood out to me as the most memorable episode of the season, goes to Shopping List. Honestly, as a zoo service episode, it was really good, and the plot was really fun and the pacing was great. It kind of reminded me of this Fairly OddParents episode called The Big Bash, where Timmy and Rummy Buck's-A-Plenty race for items and the ending was the same as it is here. The animation here is really fluid, as is all of this season, and it was a nice plankton-centered episode. The reason I gave it a good was that it did get a little boring at times, and the ending was a little predictable, but otherwise a great episode. Anyway, we had 14 greats, 17 goods, 12 mess, 7 bads, and 0 boos. The first episode to have no boos, since I added that rating in season 4. That's very interesting, and doing the math as always reveals that this season is a 69 out of 100. No, seriously. That lies just under a good, showing that this season is a light good, which for an average is great. This means, through my own ratings and stats, this season lies just over season 4, making this statistically my 4th favorite season. While I don't know if I can trust this data since it also says I hate seasons 8 and 9 more than 5, 6, and 7, I guess this time I'll give it a pass. This season was great. So, thanks for watching. Before ending off like I usually do, I just wanted to give some closing remarks and stuff I picked up while binging the season. First of all, huge shoutouts to the Discord gang of Jordan, Mavhol, and Cargo for helping me binge most of the episodes in this season, helped me with sentences and ratings, and making this review a lot funner to put together than usual. Additionally, I'd like to comment on some observations I noticed while watching these episodes. Firstly, and this really stood out to me, a lot of the music used in this season included classical music, like Rossini's William Tell Overture, that, as an example, was used in episodes like Pat the Horse or Mustard O' Mine. As an avid fan of this genre, this was a refreshing take, but it did stand out in some scenes. It made me wonder if Nickelodeon even had the rights to these timeless pieces. Anyway, something else I noticed was that this season needed to be a lot more ravioli being more original-y, as a lot of the episodes were lightly recycling older episodes, something that is inevitable with a 20-year-old show, so I just wanted to throw that out there. Third, a large chunk of the meh or bad episodes were pretty boring, and most of them would have highly improved if they were shorts or just didn't exist in the first place. Fourth, I have to say that picking ratings was the hardest part of this video in this season more than any other. A lot of the episodes that were good were really close to meh and great, and a lot of the mehs were really close to bad or good. That's why if an episode got a good and you thought it deserved a grade or something, know that it was probably a really high good, but it had one or two unredeeming qualities that slightly brought it down. Fifth, and this was pretty obvious if you binged this season like me, but Sandy was really fleshed out as a character here, and a lot of the episodes give her the spotlight compared to other characters. And although it wasn't amazingly fleshed out, like in the atrocious Squirrel Jelly, she was pretty enjoyable here for the most part. And lastly, I have to say that this season's animation is spectacular in every way, and the slapstick humor and facial expressions vary heavily throughout episodes and make each scene way more interesting and also improve the comedic aspect of the show. Apart from all that info I picked up while binging the season, I really hope you laughed or enjoyed this video in some way. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe and turn on all notifications. Follow me on Twitter at Mr. A.S.K and join my Discord server to take part in binging seasons like this. Thank you so much for watching. Tell me your thoughts on SpongeBob Season 11 in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Ciao!
Let's gather round the campfire and sing that campfire song, the CAMPFIRESONG song. And if you don't think that you could sing it faster, then you're wrong. But it'll help if you just sing along.